Call the member for Hasluck.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. I rise to speak on the Appropriation Bill No. 3, 2014 to 2015 and related bills. These appropriation bills authorise approximately $1.74 billion in additional expenditure for the 2014-15 budget and onwards. They provide for the ordinary annual services of government, capital works and services, payments in respect to states, territories and local government authorities, and to fund the services of parliamentary departments. They are measures that seek to save money for the Commonwealth, but at the same time judiciously fund those initiatives which become an integral part of any community across this nation. My electorate of Hasluck understands that we need to pay down Labor's debt, but I'm disappointed at the position we've been left in, and contrary to the previous member's comments about governments knowing full well what the books look like and what the Treasury shelves might contain in the way of funding for key initiatives, every government that I've ever known or worked for where there has been a change has had the challenge of ascertaining what is currently within the Treasury coffers and what is not available for some of the commitments that they make. I'm disappointed that a number of measures that would benefit our community are not now within reach. And I'm disappointed every time I get a call from a community organisation, because I have to advise them that they may have less resources in the future and that they play a significant role in the way that they help and assist families who struggle financially and who at times get themselves into a situation where the advice from these organisations makes an incredible difference. The coordination they do in referring people to the right agencies, solving problems, but also at the same time working through with the family measures that they can undertake in order to get themselves out of the situation that they're in. I think of some of the community facilities that local governments and organisations and groups of people have raised with me, from those who have retired from the workforce who want to build a new centre to replace the existing ageing one, and then to indicate to them that I will certainly go into bat for them. I would certainly be approaching the Treasurer and the Minister for Finance to look at the possibility of funding being in the pipeline in forward estimates, but then at the same time indicating to them, because of the economic circumstance that we find ourselves in, that it may not be possible to fund them within the next 2 years. But it also includes playing grounds that are associated with those community facilities, because it's a way in which mothers within the community with their children come together and they spend time within that centre. The engagement is an important part of belonging, and when they ask you if there's a possibility of funding for the replacement of playground equipment because they can't afford to replace that equipment, then it's challenging, because again you have to deliver some hope and aspiration, but at the same time indicate the reality. In my electorate I have a number of men's sheds who have grown substantially, and they're great initiatives because the men's sheds bring those who have retired out of their homes to connect with other men, to talk about some of the challenges that they experience, but also to learn new skills and to enjoy the camaraderie of other men who've retired. And again, they want to expand. Kalamunda Men's Shed would like to build another section to their men's shed to have a metalwork component to what they do, but at the moment that's not feasible, although there are opportunities of looking at Lotteries West and other charitable organisations that assist. In our electorate, or in my electorate, I've worked with a group of women to create the powder room. They came to me with a concept about the number of fly-in, fly-out wives who don't have adult conversation at night or who don't have adult connection, and the need for women to support each other. So in working together, we acquired a building from the Shire of Kalamunda, who were generous in giving a peppercorn rental. The Shire came to the party and refurbished the building so that it could be used by the women. And they would like to have it operating full-time, but there is no capacity. Because again, the financial avenues open to them that were there previously cannot support what they hope to do. But nevertheless, I continue to work with them to make sure that women who play an important part within their families and within the community have a centre they can go to and share experiences, share thoughts and ideas, but look at some enterprising activities that they can do together. But the spin-off of that is their teenage daughters have also asked if they can become part of the powder room. It's a great concept, and they're going to have the support of the men's clubs. I look at the sporting and recreational facilities that don't exist within my electorate because it's a challenging area when you think of the socio-economic dynamics. And the 3 local governments I meet with regularly talk to me about key initiatives that they would like to undertake, not only out of the ratepayers' funds that come into them, but looking at the opportunity of some shared arrangements with the Commonwealth and state, including Lotteries West again in Western Australia, to provide the best possible facilities that engages and supports the people that they represent within their local government catchment areas. And it's disappointing when you see great ideas are not going to be able to be supported to the extent that it should. But it doesn't mean that they haven't accessed some Commonwealth funding. At least their planning and their work that they do is developed in phases, so they still bring to the community those things that are important. But it would be better still if there was the immediacy of funding. I think of within the Shire of Kalamunda, the rugby union club that we have is quite a strong club. Some 400 players, families connected. They'd love a new club room and facilities that would enable them to host East Metropolitan competition that would engage clubs across the metropolitan area from Guildford through to Armidale. They need lighting that allows them to have night games and be part of the night competition, but there's not funding for that at the moment. But they will continue to have that aspiration and will continue to work together to get that in the ultimate future. The Kalamunda League Club, Union League, have a similar issue with a ground that is on an old rubbish site. They've had to develop facilities. The Shire of Kalamunda have built the ground up so that it is not sinking. But again, it is a club that would like to have facilities that meets the needs of their growing numbers of players who are part of that community. Costera Oval, where there is the AFL component of the football codes. Again, same challenge. Need an improvement in the quality of the grounds and the size, but again, through this process of finding that we don't have the level of funding that was there when the Howard government left office in future funds and in particular funds, that is not an avenue for which they can reach through. I have unmet mental health needs within my electorate. I've had forums on the issues that face families who are confronted with challenges around somebody that they love and care for having a mental health problem. It would be good to access a raft of programs that are localised and are available. I think of the unmet aged care needs in my electorate. At the moment I'm chairing a working group with a number of key leaders, including Sue Billich from the Shire of Kalamunda, where we're looking at sites within the Shire of Kalamunda, because at the moment, if you become old, you need aged care, then there is nowhere for you to stay within Kalamunda. The waiting lists for the existing facilities are substantial. So what you have is families taking their mother or their father down to Rockingham or to Salters Point or to Joondalup. And if they have an aged husband or wife, then the public transport on a weekend is not brilliant. And so in a sense we're separating partnerships of a husband-wife combination and putting them into facilities where they are distant to each other. And so the appropriation processes are absolutely critical in the minds of constituents, because they look to Commonwealth governments to fund a number of these initiatives, but because of the squandering over the last 6 years, that capacity is not there. I have within my electorate the Perth Heat Baseball Club, incredible club that has had outstanding achievements over the last 5 years, 4 national titles. But what they have is a ground where the facilities need upgrading. And if there was the opportunity to upgrade, then I know that in their discussions that they're having with me, we would like to be part of an Asian competition for baseball so that we grow the interest of competition between our Asian neighbours and creating the opportunity of Perth becoming a key central point for national baseball in the way in which we compete on the international level. Their ambition also is to have a test series between Australia, New Zealand, England and Africa, South Africa. And then their other stage they would like to move to is then bringing American baseball teams down here to play in Australia so that we get exposed to some of the players that we often hear about who are iconic within the United States American society. But it's only a small amount. And part of the challenge is I, along with every other member, compete for what is left within the available funding. And so one of the challenges in the way in which we have to consider providing resources is limited. I have an Arabic community who is quite strong in my community, who would like a facility of their own, a hall, in which they can come together and not have to hire, where the representation of the Arab nations that live within my electorate can collectively...
The debate is interrupted in accordance with Standing Order number 43, and the debate may be